If you're wondering whether you picked the right niche for your YouTube channel, or you're so paralyzed about picking the right one that you haven't even started YouTube, then this video is for you, because niche misalignment is one of the biggest issues that I see with people on YouTube. Maybe you're someone who's multi-passionate with so many interests to choose from, or maybe you've been creating for a while, but something just feels a little bit off. In this video, I want to introduce you to an ancient Japanese process for finding your life's purpose, and it's called Ikigai. And if you've never heard of it, it is going to be your best friend for helping you find the perfect niche for YouTube. Class is in session. So what exactly is Ikigai? It's a Japanese concept that translates to reason for being, or your purpose. It comes from Okinawa, one of those blue zone areas where people live really, really long time. Like they live like 100 years old. They're like the healthiest people on the planet. And one of the reasons people speculate that they live so long is that they practice this idea of Ikigai, that they found their Ikigai. They found their life's purpose. And now Ikigai exists at the intersection of 4 different things: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can actually get paid for. Now, when all 4 of those things interlap, that is your Ikigai. That is that sweet spot. And here's why this is absolutely perfect for finding your YouTube niche. A lot of people pick their niche based off of 1, 2, or maybe 3 of those elements. Maybe they pick something that they really love, but they can't make money from it, or they pick something super profitable and really popular, but they really don't love it. But when you use Ikigai as a guide, you're finding the niche that hits all 4 of those. Now that is a niche that you'll actually stick with. It's a niche that will actually grow. And it's a niche that will actually make you money and be fulfilling. So this is the same framework that I've used with thousands of women to help them find their perfect niche on YouTube. And I'm gonna break down each one of those elements. So my goal is, by the end of this, if you don't already know what your YouTube niche is, or you're trying to figure it out, you're gonna be so much more further ahead than you are right now. First element is what you love. And I'm not talking about surface level, oh, this is interesting, like I really love this. I'm talking about those topics that genuinely light you up. The things that you could talk about for hours and hours and hours and hours without getting tired. It's the things that make you lose track of time, that you could spend hours reading about, or like going to conferences about, or talking to people about. And this is why it matters so much for YouTube specifically. With YouTube, you're gonna be creating content in this niche for months, maybe even years. Long form, long game. That's YouTube. If you don't genuinely love your niche, I'm telling you this because I see it all the time, you will burn out. Someone picks a niche because it's profitable, or it's trending, or they happen to have a video that went really viral that's in their niche. You're like, okay, I'm just gonna lean into that. And then 6 months later, they're dreading creating every single video. Your audience can feel that energy. And when you're not passionate, it really does show up in your content. So I'm gonna give you an example. Now, Kimberlea, she blew up on YouTube because of pop sockets. Do you remember pop sockets? It's those things that you stick on a phone. And this happens a lot of times. You end up blowing up accidentally with a niche that you didn't really intend to be your niche, but you're like, I'm gonna go with it. So you're like, okay, I guess I'm gonna like ride this horse to the finish line. And then you row the wave and you're like, I don't think I wanna do this anymore. So 2, 3, 4 years later, here you are in a niche that you aren't really in love with, an audience that you can't stand, and a channel that you don't know what to do with. That's what happened to Kimberlea. She was doing videos on all kinds of things, but then a few of her videos on pop sockets blew up. So that became her channel for years and years. That's all she talked about. She actually had a lot of brand opportunities and really cool things happen because of that niche channel that she was able to grow to over 200,000 subscribers. It was her career, it was her job, until she got over it. She realized she had outgrown the niche, she had outgrown the audience, and she was just bored with it. I mean, how many ways and times can you talk about those little pop socket things that you put on your phone? We worked together and she pivoted to something completely different, true crime. And sure enough, within a year of making that pivot, she had blown up her channel and she's now at 500,000 subscribers. And is one of the top true crime creators in her space. And she's still doing that to this day. In fact, she has multiple channels now that are all about true crime, one that she has with her husband. And it was probably the best decision that she's ever made in her life, at least when it comes to her YouTube channel. So here are some of the questions that you need to ask yourself. What topics do I naturally gravitate towards in conversations? What do I consume content about in my free time? What could I talk about even if nobody was paying attention to me? What makes me feel energized rather than drained? And here's a big one. If I had to create 100 videos in this specific topic, Would I get excited? Would I be able to do it on that 98th video, 99th video, 100th video? Now, if you're a multi-passionate person, like a lot of us are, as women, we have a lot of different interests and talents. You might have a long list of things that you want to do. It's okay. We're going to narrow it down as we go through the other 3 elements. But start here. Make a list of 5 to 10 topics that you genuinely love. Don't filter yourself yet. Just brain dump everything that lights you up. Because here's what I believe. When you're aligned with content you actually love, you don't feel like you're working. And that energy, that translates to better content, better growth, and a channel that you will actually stick with long term. Now, you don't have to be the world's leading expert to be able to pick a niche in that topic. You do need to have some kind of skill, some kind of competence or natural ability in that niche. And the reason it matters is because when you're good at something, you have confidence. And when you have confidence, that's when you're magnetic on camera. It shows through in your content. I call it OCET, on camera energy transfer. And when you're good at something, you're not second guessing yourself. You're not constantly worried about being called out or what you're saying or what you're going to talk about. You actually have something valuable to share. And your audience can feel that as well. Now, here are some questions to ask yourself. What do people naturally come to me for advice about? What do people are always coming to me and saying I want to talk to you about this, or can I talk to you about this? Can I get your opinion on this? Or what skills have I developed through my career, my hobbies, or my life experience? For some people, this is really easy. For example, for me, I'm here on YouTube. I'm a YouTube producer. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. Without question, I'm going to be talking about YouTube on YouTube. That is what I want to do. It aligns with my goals, my monetization goals. It aligns with my passion, what I love to do. For example, I have a client I had for many years, Dr. Amir Karam. He's a plastic surgeon. He's a facial plastic surgeon. He does facelifts. Well, that's what he's doing on YouTube, and it makes complete sense. So for him, this is easy. I have another client, they do Airbnb. They're passionate about helping women buy properties for Airbnb and grow an Airbnb business. So it's Annette and Sarah, and that's what they do. That's what their YouTube niche is. For some people, this is super easy. But for other people, it is a little bit more challenging. And that's why answering these questions, going through these filters can be really helpful. Another question to ask yourself is, what do I do better than most people? Another question is, what have I invested time or money learning about? What could I teach someone else right now, even at a beginner level? And remember, skills can be developed. You don't have to be an expert today, but ask yourself, do I have a foundation here or the potential to be really, really good at this and to grow with this and to grow my channel around this? Now, here's where it gets interesting, where we start to kind of get the different elements together. Now, take that list from element 1, the topics that you love, and ask yourself, now, which of these, going through element number 2, am I actually good at? Because just because you love something doesn't mean you're actually good at it or you're really qualified to talk about it. Or which of these could I become good at with a lot of effort? Like maybe you're passionate about something and maybe you are good at it, but you're gonna actually now enroll in some classes or go to school and get even more qualification or get a job in that. Well, great, that's good. So you start circling those overlaps because that's where your niche is starting to emerge. So now the third element, what the world needs. This is where a lot of people, they miss this part, okay? They miss it, but it's really, really important. I mean, each element of this is equally important. I'm gonna get, this is like, this is coffee chat. So let's have our sips of coffee here. YouTube isn't just about you. It's about you serving an audience. So you need to ask yourself, what problems do people in my potential niche are actually struggling with? What questions are they asking? What gaps exist in the current content, in the current space that's out there? Because the reality is that if nobody needs what you're creating, no one's really gonna watch, okay? So the algorithm does follow the audience. It's trying to match content with people who need it, people who are interested in it. They're searching for it. They're watching other videos about it. So here's what you need to do. This is the actual research part. Go to YouTube and search your potential niche topics, right? We came up with a list of things you're passionate about, things that you're good at. So now you want to go into YouTube and start searching this. Read the comments on popular videos. See what channels are out there like this. See what people who are in a similar niche that are doing what you're doing. What are people asking for? What problems are they trying to solve? Join school groups, join Reddit communities in your niche. There doesn't have to be channels that are exactly exactly like the one that you're thinking, but look at the comments specifically. You want to see what are the pain points, what are their deep desires, what are their hopes, what are their dreams, or what are their intrinsic needs. You want to see what's there and if that exists and what is missing. If there's content that already exists and it looks like people are doing pretty well with that content, it means that the demand is there. But also you want to think about what angle has not been covered. What angle is there that maybe people aren't talking about and that you could fill that gap. Now I want you to take that list that we've been working on. It's the topics that you love, the topics that you're good at, and then now you ask, is there actual demand here? Are there people that actually need what I have to offer? Ask yourself more of these questions. What specific problems could I solve? What unique angle can I bring? Because you are looking for that sweet spot where what you love, what you're good at, and what people need. That all of that needs to intersect. So like I worked with a client a long time ago. I think this was like way back about 8 years ago when I first started doing this YouTube coaching, YouTube production thing. And she was super passionate about YouTube and being on YouTube, but she had been on YouTube for a few years and she just couldn't seem to get it to work for her. She just wasn't getting the views that she wanted. What we did is we spent time going through this entire process, going through like this Ikigai process that I'm going with you right now. I realized that she was sitting on a complete gold mine. I'm like, you're in the wrong niche. And what was that niche? It was exotic animals. Now, exotic animals was her day job. She worked with exotic pets and she would educate kids in school. She would travel from school to school to school with her pets, teaching all about it. That's what she did for a living. And I'm like, do that. That's what you need to be doing on YouTube. Interestingly enough, she had a lot of blocks and like mindset things we had to work through in order for her to really realize that upon going through this Ikigai and going through every single element of Ikigai, it checked all the boxes. She's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do this niche. Within a few months, her life changed. Her channel started blowing up and it transformed her into one of the top pet YouTubers on YouTube. She has like, I want to say 800,000 subscribers at this point. It completely changed her life by making that one decision. And it really boiled down to looking at each four of those elements and deciding, where do I fit in on that? Do they all intersect? Can I create a YouTube channel in that area where it intersects? And for her, yes, it did. Now moving on to the fourth element, money. Okay. Let's be real. If you're investing any time, any energy, anything into creating content on YouTube, you want it to make you some money. It takes a lot of time and energy to create a long form piece of content. Here's the thing though, YouTube absolutely can make you a lot of money. That is why I'm so passionate about YouTube. I work with women that are making 6 and 7 figures a year from YouTube. I know the life-changing opportunity that YouTube can bring. And that's why I do what I do, ladies. That's why I'm here teaching you doing this, because I know that it's there. That is why this element is so important, because your niche needs to have a clear monetization potential. So there's 4 main ways to make money from YouTube. And I call it the YouTube monetization diamond. And if you want to go deeper with me on this specific topic, I have a whole video on it. So you're going to want to check that out next. But the 4 corners of the diamond, and actually I have it here for you. Right here. Affiliate marketing, which is like commissions from the products you recommend, your own products or services, which is a courses, coaching, digital products, and then brand deals, and then AdSense. Now, your niche needs to have at least 2 to 3 of these income streams available. Here's the thing that you need to understand. Each niche is very different on how it is able to generate an income. Say, for example, what I'm doing here, right? I am fully aware of the fact that the channel that I have and the niche size that I have is only gonna be so big. And this actually goes back to the demand that's out there. And I do wanna bring this up about the demand. You might look in your space and say, okay, there is a demand, but I see that the top channels in that space are getting about 10,000 views. That's fine. If they're making money from it, and some channels can literally make 6 and 7 figures from 10,000 views a video and less than 50,000 subscribers. It just depends on the niche. For example, here, like I know that my niche is going to be a smaller audience pool. I know that there's only so many women that want to be on YouTube. And I'm okay with that because I know that I can and I have made 6 and 7 figures from this audience because there's a lot of opportunity there and that works for me. For example, I have my clients that do Airbnb. Like we're happy with getting a few, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 views a video because it's so targeted, it's so niche that whenever they're getting leads from their videos, that's enough to generate a significant income for their business, which is teaching women Airbnb. So that is just something to consider as you're looking at what the monetization potential is for your channel. So some channels like Kimberly's, for example, that I talked about earlier with the true crime, it's got such a broad audience. A lot of people like true crime. And so for her main monetization streams is AdSense and brand deals, because she's able to get the views that make working with a brand appealing. Brands aren't going to want to work with channels for the most part, not always. Like for example, Annette and Sarah with Thanks for Visiting the Airbnb, they get brand deals on their channel because it's so targeted. But for the most part, most brands don't want to work with a channel unless they're getting at least like 10, 15, 20,000 views consistently a video. It's those niches that are a little bit more broad that attract a larger audience that is able to do that. So in Kimberly's case, where it's true crime, if she's not getting more than 100,000 views a video, she's not happy, because that is really what's required in order to make that AdSense revenue and that brand deal revenue. Other niches, like the one I'm in, the Airbnb, the ones I'm talking about, very specific business niches, they get fewer views but attract high paying product sales or clients that way. You just need to know the monetization landscape of your niche. So here's some questions that you want to ask yourself. Are there products or services that I could create in this niche? Do brands spend money here for sponsorships? If so, what does it seem like the size of those channels are? Like how many views per video are those channels getting? Are there affiliate programs for products that my audience would want to buy? Could I build a sustainable business around this? You don't need to have all of these business models in place. In fact, most of the people I work with, they don't. But you just need to know what the potential is. And that's where doing some of this research really comes in handy, because you're able to see, if I'm able to get my channel to consistently 5,000 views, 10,000 views, 50,000 views, whatever it is, I know that I can make money doing A, B, C, and D. You don't need to have those in place now, but you need to know what the potential is for your specific niche. And there is, in fact, opportunity there for you. Because if you're going to choose a niche as your horse that you're going to ride into for your success, you want to make sure you can make a good amount of money with it. We're talking about 6 or 7 figures a year. So I currently have a client right now, Tracy Campoli. She was having a really hard time with YouTube. She had been on YouTube for about 14 years, and she had gotten to a point at about 200,000 subscribers where she was like, I was just stuck. Her whole goal with being on YouTube was to make money for her online fitness programs. She had done that. She felt like she was stuck and wasn't getting to that next level. And in fact, her channel was dying. She was getting less than 1,000 views a video at 200,000 subscribers. So when she found me, she basically said, you're my Hail Mary, you are my last ditch effort at trying to make YouTube work. I went through this entire process. This is actually step 2 of my YouTube brand blueprint, which is the niche part of it, right? So when I work with clients, students in my bootcamp, I go really, really deep in this part of the niche. And we go through this whole Ikigai process. We realized together that she had so much more to offer than just workout classes on YouTube, because all her channel was workout classes. And then we settled into a niche that hit all of that Ikigai criteria. And the niche was aging advice for women 40 to 60, women that were going through perimenopause and menopause. And she herself had gone through that herself. So it was a topic that she was and is very passionate about. She knows a lot about it. And so she was good at it. She went through it herself. And there is a huge demand for it on YouTube. So that checks that box. And there is a lot of money to be made in that niche. So now Tracy not only gets people to her online fitness program, which is what her goal was from the beginning, but she now has brand deals on almost every single video. And she also makes a bunch of money with affiliate and AdSense, and she wasn't making money really on those corners of the monetization diamond before. It's an Ikigai win, win, win. So for each niche option that you're considering, I want you to map out what that monetization potential would be. How would I monetize it? What are all the income streams available? How are people monetizing this type of content? How many views are these people getting to make this amount of money? Am I going to be able to make money on this long term? Because remember, YouTube is a long form, long game platform. You're not looking for quick money. That's not what this is. Like I said, you don't need to have these business models now in place, but you need to know that that's an opportunity for you. And you need to start thinking strategically, this is how I'm going to be getting there one day. You're building what I call the perpetual profit pipeline. It's content that generates income for months and years after you create it. For some people, it's already very clear. You already have a program like myself, course, you have a product. I have a couple clients that have skincare lines that have different types of products. I have another client that she does injectables in the face. She already knew. coming on board. Her name is Emily. I'm using YouTube to get me clients. But if you don't know, you need to start thinking about it now. And whatever those monetization goals are, your niche needs to be able to support it. And that's why, ladies, I am so passionate about YouTube. That's why I know that YouTube, if you have any sort of business whatsoever, and this is a hill I will die on, ladies, that if you have any business whatsoever, I don't care if it's in person, brick and mortar, online, whatever it is, you need to have a YouTube channel, because the monetization opportunities are so incredible that this could be that key to unlock that next level in your life, in your business. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I have this channel. That's why I work with women one-on-one in my YouTube bootcamp, in my courses. Now, moving on to the finish line, ladies, this is where the magic happens. Your signature YouTube niche exists at the center of all four of these elements that I talked about. What you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. They all need to overlap. That is your sweet spot. That is your Ikigai. That is your YouTube niche. You want to look at your list from all four of the elements. What topics appear in all four of these categories? You love it, so you don't burn out. You're good at it, so you have some credibility. The world needs it, so you have an audience, so you have some demand, and you can get paid for it, so it's sustainable, so that you can do this long term. That is your niche. So what if nothing overlaps perfectly? It's okay. You want to look at the closest intersection and ask, how can I just maybe my approach, my angle to bring these elements together? So maybe you love fitness, but you feel like the market is a little bit saturated. Can you niche down? Maybe fitness for new moms, or fitness for a busy entrepreneur, or fitness for women in their 30s without kids. I have a client that does exactly that. She does fitness for women in their 30s that are living their best life. Maybe you're good at something, but you don't really love it. Well, can you find an aspect of it that you do love? Some people actually love the process of creating content. They love being on YouTube. They love to see that success. And that's enough love and passion for them to be able to do that topic. Or maybe something is profitable, but maybe you're not skilled at it yet. Well, maybe you love it. So are you willing to invest time, energy, and money in developing that skill or making it better? So you're looking for that closest alignment and then adjusting from there. And here's what I really need you to understand, that this is very much introspective work. So when I work with clients and my students in this, some of these examples that I gave you, it took sometimes months to figure this out. It's okay. You might not find that perfect answer today, but I'm sharing this with you so you can start thinking about it. We all have our intuition, and as women, we have very strong intuitions, but modern life, everyday life is almost teaching us to ignore it. I'm a big believer and a big fan that a lot of the success that happens on YouTube is when you start listening to your intuition. And so much of what I do, my coaching, is a little bit different than what other people do, because my first go-to is, what are you feeling? How are you feeling? How do you feel inside? When I say this video idea, what do you feel? Do you feel excited, or do you feel like you don't want to do it? That is the best litmus test for you to determine if this is something you should be doing on YouTube. And that's always where I start. And ladies, that's where you should start as well. It's okay that you don't know your answer today, but you want to start thinking about it. You want to start mulling it over. You want to think about it as you're watching YouTube, as you're looking at what people are doing, as you're thinking and planning about having your YouTube channel. And because when you do find that intersection, everything changes. Your content gets better because you're energized. Your growth accelerates because you're really aligned. You found that audience. Your income increases because you're building something sustainable for yourself. That is the power of Ikigai. I believe so strongly in it, and it's exactly what has helped so many of my clients earn 6 and 7 figures on YouTube. And that's the power of finding your true niche. I see all the time on YouTube, you don't need a niche, you don't need a niche. Yes, you do. You need a niche. Like, there is no if, ands, or buts about it. You need a niche. It might not be so black and white as, oh, women who do fitness over 50, but every single channel, I'm telling you, has a niche. You need that niche in order to be successful on YouTube, in order for YouTube to understand what your channel is about, so that it gives your channel to a proper audience. Even Mr. Beast, his niche, every single channel falls into some kind of niche. So that's another hill that I will die on as well, ladies. So you don't have to be 100% certain on what your niche is before you start. In fact, you might not even know for sure until you actually create content. A lot of time that clarity comes with action, and you almost have to try it out to see what feels good. But using this Ikigai gets you 80 to 90% of the way there. And the last 10, 20%, it does come from testing. It comes from doing. It comes from experiencing. It comes from doing something and then using your intuition to decide, did that feel good or did it not? So here's what I recommend. This is what you need to do. Create 5 to 10 videos in your chosen niche and pay attention. Pay attention to your energy. Do you feel excited? or are you already dreading it? Pay attention to your intuition. Is this something that you feel is the right fit, or is it not? That is important. That is more important probably than anything. Pay attention to the audience response. Are people engaging? Are they commenting? Are they subscribing? Are they telling you, oh my God, this is exactly what I need. This is what I love. Oh my God, where have you been my whole life? Pay attention to the content flow. Do ideas come easily to you, or are you struggling to come up with them? Pay attention to the numbers, to the metrics. Are you seeing any traction? Even some small wins, a little bit higher of a click-through rate, a little bit higher of a retention, a little bit more views. YouTube growth, it takes time. Do not expect that overnight success. Long form, long game. I say it all the time. I say it until I'm blue in the face. You need patience, you need consistency. But if after doing this for 10, 15 videos, you're miserable and seeing zero traction, it might be time to go back to your Ikigai framework and adjust this whole thing. This framework will be there for you. So go ahead and use it. And don't be afraid to come back to it. Don't be afraid to pivot. Remember, I've told you about a couple people in this video that all had to pivot in order to find their true Ikigai. So it didn't necessarily come to them when they first got onto YouTube, but the action of doing allowed them to see that they were in a niche that wasn't working for them. If your niche isn't working for you, you don't have to quit YouTube. It doesn't mean that YouTube isn't working for you. It just means that niche isn't working for you. So pivot, go back to the framework. Maybe you need to niche down further. Maybe you need to adjust your angle. Maybe you need to do something completely different. That is all part of this process. All right, so here is your action plan, ladies. Set aside a few hours for this introspective work. Work through each element of Ikigai, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can be paid for. Find the different overlaps. That's your niche. Then test it with 5 to 10 videos and see how that feels. And then pivot. Test it with another 5 videos. Test it with another 5 videos. Like I said, finding your niche is a journey. Give yourself grace. But when you find that Ikigai alignment, everything clicks. You're not just building a YouTube channel, you're building something that fulfills you, that serves people, and that generates real life changing income. So if this was helpful, let me know in the comments, what's your biggest challenge with finding your niche? Did you feel like this was able to give you a little bit more clarity on how you're supposed to find your niche on YouTube? I would love to know you, get to know you. So let me know in the comments. And if you would like my help with helping you find your niche, the best place to do that is in my YouTube bootcamp, where I personally do this with my students in the bootcamp. We go through this whole process. I have an entire AI tool that walks them through this whole thing together, as well as workbooks and exercises and tons of videos, and plus me working with them to help them figure it out, because this is so important. So I'll put the link to that, to my application for my bootcamp below, if that's something that you're interested in. And up next, you're gonna wanna watch this video here on the things that I've learned from 6 and 7 figure YouTubers. Until next time, keep shining, keep creating, and most importantly, keep being you. And if you made it all the way to the end, make sure you subscribe.